today this is a gentle stretch routine, but we are doing it standing up. So you don't need to get down and off the floor. You don't need a mat. If you're outside, this is great. And we're going to be working on balance also. So we're going to get started. Palms are going to face up. Hands come up overhead. And then the palms face down and you're pushing down. So you can make this a little bit bigger by arching your back, bringing your hands out, further out, or you can keep it small. We're going to do a couple more here. Inhaling and then exhaling as you push down. Fingertips are towards each other. Last one. Palms are going to face up. They get to your eye level and then they push outward and back down. We're doing that 3 times. This will be number 1. Last one. We're going to take our hands all the way up, palms touch each other, maybe a slight lean back or just looking up or looking straight ahead, and just gently drift off to your right. Coming back into the middle and drifting off to the left. Bring it into the center, looking up or going back, maybe a little bit further. And then dropping the hands, coming into a chair position. Palms are going to go behind you. Notice your toes. They should be parallel to each other. Most of the weight's in the heels so you can lift the toes. I'm going to bring the hands to the thighs and drop forward. So when I'm doing this, I'm pulling in my belly so I have a flat back, but if I'd like to, maybe I go a little more forward, and if you're really flexible, you might straighten out your knees. Dropping the arms, pulling up through the belly, slowly come up. As you come up, bringing your shoulders up to your ears, squeeze in here, and then release down, taking that right shoulder back up, squeeze it as much as you can, and then turn your head towards that shoulder. Feel a nice stretch, the opposite side of the neck. Squeeze as much as you can, keeping that shoulder shrugged. We're looking the opposite direction, shrugging that shoulder a little bit more. And then release the head into the center of the chest. We're looking up and down. Fingers are relaxed. Neck and shoulder are relaxed. Belly is pulled in tight. Really grounding through the feet so the legs are contracted. Arms are going to come up overhead. Deep inhale here. Reach, maybe a slight back bend. Releasing those hands down. Bending those knees. Going into drinking bird. So this time if you want to rock up onto your toes, pushing the palms up. A little bit of a balance. If you'd rather have the heels down, just in that chair position, that's really good too. Then we'll release the hands to the thighs, start straightening out the legs, and just coming down the legs. Just so you feel sensation in the back of the legs. And then rounding the back, pulling the belly in, so you're getting a hunchback here. And slowly coming up, you might walk your hands up for support. You're trying to use the back of the legs to pull you all the way up. Once you get to the top, shrug the shoulders. Get them as tightly up to the ears as you can, and then release them, taking the left shoulder up towards the ear, relaxing the right, and then look over to the left, squeezing, keeping that left shoulder shrugged, look all the way over the other side. Letting the chin go down to the chest, releasing the arm. Arms come up overhead, deep inhale. Push the palms together, exhale, right in front of the chest. We're gonna take the right foot and bring it forward. And I'm flexing the foot here. You can see my toes kind of popping up in the bottom of the screen. And I'm pushing my hips back. I'm just trying to lengthen that hamstring a little bit more. I release the hands to my lower back. You might place the hands on top of your lower back. You might interlock the fingers. Pushing the chest forward, like it would if there was a rope pulling in front of your toe. Releasing the toe down, and just get a little deeper bend here. So you might feel a little bit of hamstring. You might actually feel a little bit of work going on in the calf muscle here. The soleus actually under the calf muscle, sorry. We'll come all the way up. Popping the hips forward. Changing the placement. If you had your placement of the palms on the sacrum, keep them there. You're pushing and you're trying to get those elbows as close together as possible. And I'm pushing forward. And then if you can interlock the fingers, bring them a little further down, and I want you to open up from chin to chest, so look up towards the sky, still pushing the hips forward. And then we're taking this left foot, turning it out. And you're just setting the heel down on the floor. Arms are gonna open up, cactus arms, and then we'll open them up and try to pull those back of the palms together. Closing up the upper body by bringing the palms together, tucking the head. We're gonna go into like a liberty, so we're coming up, bringing this left knee up, and then we'll just hold the little torch in our hand, a fake torch. You might keep the toe down. You might be able to bring the knee a little further up. If you want to, you can grab underneath the thigh. And then releasing down, now this left leg's in front. We're pulling back the toes. Hands are going to be placed either on the hips, on the sacrum, or interlocked. If they're interlocked, get that other pinky on top. So the least comfortable way of doing it, the opposite way of what you did on the other side. So we're pushing the hips back. And I'm really bringing the toe up there. And then letting the toes find the floor. Still bending, noticing the hips. If you're pushing off to one side like I was, try to stay square here. Abdominals are tight. You come all the way up. Start to bend that front knee, and we're pressing the hips forward. So getting a little bit of an arch in the back, and I'm pressing into the lower back. Just opening up the hip flexors. Both feet are on the floor. Open up the chest, maybe looking up. Coming all the way up. Bring your torch in your hand, bring it up, and then start to balance on one leg. If you like to, you can grab the inner thigh, pull it up more. You could use both hands to pull it up more. Just working on balance. Release it back, coming into a warrior one stance. Arms come up to cactus, and then you're gonna spread them apart into a T and then bring them back as much as feels comfortable. And you can lower the hands down a little bit more if you feel the upper trapezius getting really tight. That's the, the neck muscle here that goes into the back. And then we're bringing it forward, so we're tucking the chin, rounding the back here, palms come together, really pointing those middle fingers outward. Standing through, standing nice and tall. Spreading those toes, really grounding the heels in. Taking just a few deep breaths here. Noticing the shoulders relaxed. Placing the hands on the hips, popping one hip out. Bending those knees slightly, just get a nice stretch there. We'll go over the other side. We're going to be pushing the hips forward this time, so you're just trying to lengthen here. Keep your abs engaged so you're not just, putting a lot of pressure in the lower back, but you're pushing, if you can, kind of push on the top of the sacrum forward. Some of you might be able to do fists, get a little bit more extension. Be careful, just take care of yourself. One more deep breath. And then release. We're going to go a little deeper on each side this time. So we're going to actually take the right leg back first. So you have about a 2.5, maybe 3 foot spread between the heels. Ideally, they're on the same line if you're on a deck like I am on the same board. If you have any balance issues or hip issues, keep them hip distance apart. So we're coming forward and we're just getting that hamstring to stretch. Hands might come forward, they might go on your lower back. You might not even go for it. You might say, this is enough and I'm just gonna bring my toes up and that gives me enough of a stretch. Some of you are gonna be able to go all the way down, maybe hands to the floor, hands to the ankle, just kind of finding. So the second part of the sequence is going to be lengthening those areas a little bit more. So now we're really working the back of the leg. Before we were, but this might get it a little deeper. And notice this front thigh. You want to contract here so you're not just pushing back your knee. The knee is not bent, but it's not fully straight. And you're thinking about almost someone lifting you up here, the hip bones like coming up and back, like they have a strap there. So you're getting a really deep crease here. So the deeper the crease here, the more you can feel it on the back of the leg. So you're pushing hips back. Coming up, and we're going to be taking this right leg back. So now we're on the ball of the foot. If balance is not there, then you can always have the heel down, but we're trying to get hip flexor. So in order to do this, I want to squeeze my glutes, my rear end together, and I'm going to try to open up the front of the hip just a little bit more. And as I do that, I want to pull in the belly, squeeze pelvic floor muscles. They always need to be worked, so why not? And then if you can bring the hands to the back and push forward. Shouldn't feel any pain in the lower back because we are right on top of our hips. We're not bending our back backwards. We're pushing the hips forward. So you should have a straight spine. So if I were to take a picture of you in this position from the waist up, it wouldn't look like you are bending backwards. It looks like you're standing straight up. So you should feel it here in the hip flexor. Woo. Squeeze a little bit tighter, those inner thighs. Push those hips a little bit further forward. All right. Release, we're gonna go into a warrior three. Hands can go out to the side, they can go forward, more traditional, or go into the center. And you just bring up that back foot a little bit, or the toe. Ideally, you wanna get parallel down to the ground. And as you do this, I don't know if you can see this back foot, but I flex the back foot instead of pointing. So I should feel my glute engaged all the way down my leg. Arms go wherever feels good for you. Lastly, we're gonna go back into that Liberty stance. So we come forward, right arm, right leg. And you might be able to grab underneath the thigh. You might even go underneath the foot and show off, or straighten the leg, whatever feels good for you. We're gonna take 3 more breaths here. I'm really pushing through the left heel, making me a little bit taller, finding what works well. If I have to have my toe down, that's okay. We wanna practice good balance, so your body knows where to go if you do lose your balance. And then we'll release, and you can bring this leg forward. So now you have that 2.5, 3 foot spread, and you're getting that nice crease at the hip joint. So I'm coming forward, going into a pyramid pose, noticing the hips don't push out to one side, but they stay square. And you might be able to get a little bit more forward. If this is too much on your back, stand straight up and just pull those toes up and kind of lean a little bit forward. We're just trying to open up the hamstring a little bit more than we did the first time around. So the head is reaching out. You feel like the chest is being pulled forward. Squeeze the abdominals in, come all the way up. Start to bend that front leg, and if you can, tilt forward, bring that left leg back. So now you're on the toe, you're in a lunge. You want to be able to wiggle the front toes. If you're not able to wiggle them, you probably have the knee too far forward here. You don't want to have this really deep bend. You want to keep it either 90 or wider. So you know you're not loading up that knee. If the knee's like, hello, it hurts, it may not work out. Arms come up, they're gonna come to the back. And if you can, remember you're trying to push the hips forward, but keep the spine in a great alignment. So you're not leaning back here, not putting extra pressure on the lower back. Open up the lungs, breathe as much as you can. Try to bring those elbows together. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. Squeeze the glute muscles, the butt muscles, so you get a little deeper stretch in the front of that hip. And then we'll release, we're gonna go into that warrior three of your choice. You might just go right up on the tippy toe here, or if you can float the leg, great. Ideally, you're getting parallel to the ground. I'm all over the place, sorry if you're watching. Hands can go wherever feels good for you. Try to flex this back foot, and notice my foot was turned out. You want the toes pointing down towards the floor. Maybe hands go behind you, maybe they go in front of you. Lastly, going into that liberty, so coming forward, bringing that right arm forward, right leg, standing. If you want a little bit more challenging pose, you can grab underneath the thigh. You might bring it all the way up. You might be able to grab underneath the foot. You might be able to extend the foot forward. You just kind of find what works well for you. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope this was helpful for you and got you moving today.